There's an investment fund that advertises a 50% annual yield. 50%. You put in $10,000 and the marketing material tells you that you will collect $5,000 a year in monthly income just for holding it. So naturally, thousands of retail investors piled in, and then the fund's share price dropped so fast that the managers were forced to execute a reverse stock split just to keep the price from hitting zero. A reverse split on an income fund is not a technical adjustment. It's a public admission that the fund has been paying you your own money back and calling it income. The ticker is TSLY, and it's the most visible example of a yield trap that's quietly destroying portfolios across every brokerage platform in the country right now. Let me explain how this works because the mechanic is elegant enough to fool very smart people. A covered call income ETF like QYLD takes a basket of high-growth stocks, in this case the NASDAQ 100, and sells call options against them every month. The premium collected from selling these options gets distributed to you as monthly income. It looks like a dividend. It feels like a dividend. Your brokerage account shows a deposit every 30 days, but it's not a dividend. It's a synthetic distribution funded by capping the upside of the underlying stocks. Every time the NASDAQ rallies, the fund misses the gains because it already sold the right to participate. And every time the NASDAQ drops, the fund absorbs the full loss because covered calls provide almost no downside protection. Here's the 5-year math. From early 2021 through early 2026, QYLD delivered a total return of approximately 44%. In the same period, QQQ, the standard NASDAQ 100 index fund that QYLD is built on, returned approximately 100%. Investors who chose QYLD sacrificed more than half the market's actual gains for the privilege of seeing a deposit every month. That's not income, that's an expensive illusion of income. But the yield trap does not stop at missed gains. It gets worse when you look at the tax math. In the 24% federal tax bracket, distributions from a covered call ETF like QYLD are taxed as ordinary income, not as qualified dividends. On $10,000 of annual distributions, you owe $2,400 in federal taxes. If you'd received that same $10,000 from a qualified dividend fund like SCHD or VOO, your tax rate would be 15%, which is $1,500. The covered call investor pays $900 more in taxes on the exact same amount of money every single year. The fund already costs you half the market's gains, and now it's costing you an extra $900 annually in tax drag that a simple index fund would have avoided entirely. And this is what happens when the fund at least holds relatively stable assets. Let me show you what happens when yield chasing meets a single stock. Anali Capital Management, ticker NLY, was one of the most popular high-yield dividend stocks in America. In January 2010, accounting for the company's later stock split, it traded at the equivalent of $69 per share and paid an annual dividend that worked out to $10.16. That's a 14.6% yield. Income investors loved it. By the end of 2024, on that same split-adjusted basis, the share price had collapsed 74% to $18.30, and the dividend had been slashed from $10.16 to $2.60. An investor who put in roughly $7,000, expecting that fat 14% yield to last, watched their principal disintegrate to under $2,000 while the income they were counting on shrank by 74% as well. They lost their principal and their income at the same time. The yield was never real. It was a declining asset liquidating itself in slow motion. If you think that's an isolated case, consider Citigroup. In 2006, Citigroup traded at $55 with a 4% dividend yield. Within 36 months, the dividend was cut by 98% and the stock dropped 98% to under $1 per share. The income investors who bought for the yield did not just lose their income, they lost almost everything.
Citigroup lost $1.02 per share, essentially what it made in the same period in 2007, $5 billion or $1.01 per share. The bank said write-downs related to mortgages and turmoil in the credit markets reached about $12 billion, and costs stemming from consumer credit problems surpassed $3 billion. With big exposure to mortgages and leveraged loans, Citigroup remains at risk for further write-downs.
There's an economic principle that explains exactly why this happens. In 1961, two economists named Merton Miller and Franco Modigliani published what became known as the dividend irrelevance theory. The core finding is brutal in its simplicity. In a functioning market, every dollar a company pays as a dividend is exactly offset by a corresponding drop in the share price on the ex-dividend date. The company's not generating extra money to hand you, it's moving money from one pocket to another. Your total value does not change. The dividend's not free income, it's a forced withdrawal from your own investment. I'm not saying dividends are worthless. There are legitimate reasons to own dividend growth stocks. Funds like CSHD and VIG focus on companies that consistently raise their dividends over decades, which signals financial health and management discipline. These companies tend to be mature, profitable, and stable. The difference between a dividend growth fund and a yield trap is the same difference between a company that earns enough to pay you and a company that borrows or liquidates to pay you. One is sustainable, the other is a countdown. So, what should a portfolio actually look like if the goal is real long-term wealth? Two alternatives with the same math rigor. The first is total return investing through a broad market index. $10,000 invested in VOO, the Vanguard S&P 500 ETF, over the last 500 years returned approximately 80%. No yield gimmick, no covered call cap, no reverse splits. The growth compounds untouched, and you only pay taxes when you choose to sell. The same $10,000 in QYLD returned 44%. The yield chaser ended with $14,400. The index investor ended with $18,000. $3,600 lost on a single position just for chasing monthly income you never actually needed. The second is strategic placement of dividend income inside tax-sheltered accounts. If you genuinely want dividend income, hold the dividend-paying assets inside a Roth IRA. $50,000 in a fund yielding 5% generates $2,500 a year in distributions. Inside a Roth, that is $2,500 completely tax-free, zero drag. In a standard brokerage account at the 15% qualified dividend rate, you lose $375 a year to taxes. Over 20 years, the tax fee compounding inside the Roth produces $81,444 compared to $75,810 in the taxable account. That's $5,634 lost purely to the friction of holding the wrong asset in the wrong account. Let me say that again. $5,634 evaporated not because of a market crash, not because of a bad stock pick, but because the asset was sitting in the wrong account type. The question's never whether a yield number looks impressive on a screen. The question's what's happening to your principal underneath that yield number. Because every fund that pays you 8, 10, 15, 50% a year is getting that money from somewhere, and if it's not coming from genuine earnings growth, it's coming from your own investment being liquidated and returned to you one monthly deposit at a time. The yield's not a gift, it's a refund on your own declining asset dressed up as passive income. Stop chasing yield, start measuring total return. That is the income mission. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one where I reveal the exact tax playbook the wealthy use to pay 3.4% while you pay 24%.